Hello everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel iRumors. Today is going to be the review of the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. For those of you who remember has been following this channel and watching all of my videos, you'll remember that I recently changed the display for a Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. So that is this phone. Now since the phone is fully working except for just one main feature, let's continue discussing about it. So without further ado, let's get started right into this review of the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. So here is the phone. Firstly, let's take a look at the hardware specifications of this phone. This is the notification indicator followed by the front facing camera, and we've got this microphone hole right over here, and at the bottom we've got the touch sensitive menu icon, and this is the back button followed by the home button right over here. And if we take a look at the side, we've got the volume rockers up and down switch followed by, let me bring it closer, SIM card tray, and followed by a larger SIM card and micro SD card slot. So this phone has two SIM cards, dual SIM, and supports external storages too. And if we take a look at the right side over here, we've got the small opening right over here. This is the speaker, and followed by the power wake on and off button. And at the back is the flashlight, followed by the rear camera. And at the bottom, we've got our micro USB, followed by the headphone jack. And now let's take a look at the technical specifications of this phone. The original display is a Gorilla Glass, but for me, you all know that I've changed the display, so this is no more Gorilla Glass. Now a quick look at the software information. We can see that this phone is actually running Android 8 or Android Oreo. This phone actually released with Android 6 Marshmallow, and it was upgraded up to Android 9.0 Pie. That is not without the Samsung One UI skin on top of this. Let's take a look at the hardware of this phone. The processor in which this phone runs is the Samsung Exynos 780 octa-core, which is a 4nm processor, and the CPU is an octa-core 1.6 GHz. So firstly, before we start off with any other testing, you all know that the must start is to run the Geekbench. The phone supports Geekbench, we'll be definitely running it. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to be running Geekbench. So firstly, let's run the CPU benchmarks. Okay, there we go. Geekbench is done. The problem is the CPU benchmark is working, but when I run the compute just keeps crashing. It runs for like a good 5 to 10 minutes and it just crashes the entire Geekbench app. And I tried this like 2 to 3 times, and even when the CPU benchmark ran, it took around 15 minutes for the results to be ready. I have never expected Geekbench to take this long and this frustrating. So here are the results. For the single core it's 121 and the multi-core is 451. A pretty minor scores actually. Can't really be expecting much from a phone which is from 2016. And this is also not a flagship phone, so we can't really be expecting much. Now that we've done with Geekbench and we've taken a look at the scores, the next thing that we can do is to test the speed of this phone. Yep, this is a 4G phone, but now I thought it would be nice if we can just run a quick speed test and check how fast the internet speed on this phone. So let's quickly just run that. I'm definitely not running this on mobile data. This is on Wi-Fi. So let's check how fast the phone actually intercepts. We have gotten the results of the speed test. And as you can see here, the download is 21.1 megabyte and the upload is 9.47 megabytes. Definitely not the greatest of speeds, but I'm definitely not surprised. The last thing that we're going to do is to test the graphics, to test how the Samsung Exynos 780 octa-core processor works and how good is it under stress. So for that, we're going to be running the 3D Mark Wildlife Benchmark Extreme Test. So let's just quickly run that. Okay, I ran the Wildlife Benchmark, and this is actually the third time that this test has rebooted. It just goes halfway and then it just shuts off and it just reboots again. And this has been a cycle for 3 times, so I'm just going to quickly quit this test. I would say that the heat on this device is actually pretty decent. Now more about the technical specifications of this phone. Mine is actually a 32GB variant, but this phone came in a 16GB variant and a 64GB variant. So mine is in the middle, and of course this has expandable micro SD card like I showed all of you earlier. As for the camera, front facing camera is actually an 8MP camera with a f1.9 aperture, and this can take videos at 1080p 30fps. If you take a look at the rear camera over here, we have the flash at the side and followed by the rear camera. The rear camera is actually a 13MP camera with an aperture of 1.9. Like I said before, there's LED flash followed by panorama and HDR. These are one of the minor features on this rear camera, and for video it's the same 1080p 30fps just like the front facing camera. Both of the cameras have the same resolution in terms of video, but sadly I can't show all of you all how the quality is, because when I open the camera, as you can see here, camera failed. If I had noticed this when I was changing the display for this phone, I definitely would have bought the cameras. That definitely depends if it's worth it or not, but I would have actually tried repairing the cameras, but sadly the camera is totally not working for this phone. That I only realized after I glued the entire display together. So due to this, I'm unable to show all of you the front facing camera video and photo and the rear camera video and photo testing. I'm really sorry for that. If I realized that earlier, I would have at least checked on how much the camera prices are to replace it and to see if it's worth it or not, but it was too late after I glued the display in when I was setting the phone for the review, and that is when I realized that the camera is not working. But it shows camera failed. Maybe it's a software issue, but I'm not really sure. But if it's a hardware issue, then I would have at least tried resolving it. Now with that done, let's take a look at one of the most important components of a smartphone, which is the screen. Of course, mine is a replaced screen. So the screen of this phone is a 5.5-inch ALS LCD display with 1080 by 920 pixels, and this approximately has around 400 pixels per inch. And as for the glass on top, always Corning Gorilla Glass. But all these specifications are only for the original display. Mine, of course, you all know it's a replacement display. But despite that, we are still going to be testing the display out. So here I've got some HDR video playing. Take a look at it. But of course, this is definitely just the replacement display. Now let's take a look at how the display looks in an outdoor environment or with a slight bit of sunlight. So here's the video playing in a bright sunlight environment. Now I've got the brightness on full because we're in an outdoor environment and the sunlight is there. Take a look at it. Let me know how this $15 display is. For me, I feel like this is actually pretty okay. Whatever your thoughts is, do let me know in the comments below. Now that you have taken a look at how the video looks both indoors and outdoors, got the usual NCS, but today I'm going to be putting the microphone closer to the phone so that you get an actual representation on how the speaker quality is. That is the audio quality of this phone. I would say that the audio quality is actually pretty decent compared to a few of the other phones that I tested recently, and to me this speaker quality is actually usable, and I'm pretty sure that you can use this on a normal environment. You all should know what this is. Yup, this is the last test that we're going to be doing, and that is the gaming test. We've got our usual test running up, but this is slightly different. We'll be playing in the normal version of Temple Run, but I thought for this review it would be better if we run the Temple Run 2 because this is a slightly newer version and we will also know how is it performing. So let's quickly start the gameplay, but before that, let's get this sound on. If you are playing Temple Run on a regular basis, do let me know if the graphics had any changes recently, because to me I feel like the graphics is actually more pixelated than how it used to be, because it's actually been very long since I played Temple Run, or basically Temple Run or Subway Surfers. Usually I only play these games only for my review, not on a regular basis. So far I don't see any lag, and the display surprisingly pretty impressive for $15. Now that we're nearing to the end of the review, the last thing and the final thing that I want to show all of you is the battery of this phone. So the battery is a 3300 milliamp hour non-removable battery. For the battery usage, I would say that we started off this review at around 70% usage, and now you can definitely see that it's around 61. We're shooting for about a good 1 hour, and I've been running Geekbench and things like that, and it's only down around 10%, and that is quite impressive for such an old phone. So that is the review of the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime in 2023. For me, if you ask me, is anyone going to buy this phone? I'm not sure. But if you ask me, is anyone still using this phone? My answer would definitely be a yes. A lot of people will definitely be using this phone. I'll definitely say that this phone is usable in 2024. But the problem is, it's a phone in a fully working condition. That's another thing. And I'm pretty sure this phone definitely lacks in a lot of tasks. I tried to run 3D Mark Wildlife Benchmark and it crashed. Running again and again and it crashed. And when I run Geekbench CPU worked, but Geekbench computer didn't work. So this phone definitely wouldn't be the phone that you want to be using right now, since this phone was released back in 2016. So that's 8 years. You all know that older Samsung phones definitely don't age well. But if you're having this phone and you want to use it as a spare phone, pretty sure you can definitely be using it, except the fact that you can't really be transferring all your data due to this limited storage available, because the maximum storage available is 64 gigabytes. Other than that, I really want to do a camera test. I definitely should have realized this earlier. The moment I realized that the camera wasn't working, I was curious and I decided to search up on how much the camera actually costs. The back camera is actually around $5 and the front camera is actually around $4. So that's around a $10 repair. $15 for the screen and $10 for the camera is definitely not a worthy investment. That will be around a $35 investment just to repair this phone, and if I'm going to resell this, definitely I won't be able to make the money back. My main intention for doing the repair was firstly self-repair and second is a review. I really want to test the phone out, and with a broken display it's not really nice to do a review on. So that's actually been it for this review. Definitely not going to be keeping this phone with me. I'm going to be trying to sell it, but let's see how much I actually make. My only goal is to just get the money that I paid for the screen back. So that is definitely going to be off camera. Hopefully everything goes well and able to make a profit. Any feedback you want to leave me, you can definitely leave me in the comments below. That's actually been it for this review of the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to get subscribed to this channel, because every subscription and every like really supports me and motivates me to do more reviews like this, and of course improve on my reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch all of you in the next one. Bye bye.